All right. What's going on, gentlemen? Hope you guys are having a great day, great Wednesday morning. If you're tuning in live, comment hashtag live. If you're tuning in, watching the replay, hashtag replay. Type that in the comments, let the algorithm do its thing. And if you're totally new to the group, welcome. Welcome. If this is your very first time, welcome aboard. My name is Miles Wold. I own and operate the Winners Mindset Fitness Academy, specific fitness academy for contractors such as yourself, guys who are, maybe feeling a little bit low in energy, a little bit overweight, not enough muscle so that they can actually perform better in their business, rise up as the better leaders as possible. So what we do is we actually put a plan in place that works for your busy lifestyle so you can hit the fitness goals that you want and actually be able to perform in all areas of life, have more energy for the business, have more energy for the family, have more energy for the kids, have more energy to be able to do the things you love at business and outside of business. So what we're going to be talking about today is actually summer holiday guide, your 3-step summer holiday fat loss guide, because summer is pretty much right around the corner. Right, pretty much right around the corner. We are May 10th today, so that gives us what, till June, July, August, maybe beginning of September, if you're still going to the beach at that point. So we've really got to have some kind of plan in place, right? Because when the summer's here, it means beaches, it means barbecue, it means beers, right? Summer cookouts and all that kind of stuff. And if you're trying to get in the best shape of your life, whether that's losing a ton of weight or even trying to get a six-pack, this is the best approach to enjoy yourself and still see results. Because a lot of people feel like they might have to sacrifice so much to be able to get to the health that they want, be able to get in the best shape of their life, so they don't enjoy their summertime, right? And at the very least, like, you'll stay at maintenance instead of eating yourself back into oblivion, right? You're not going to gain back any kind of weight that you did lose over the last 3-4 months, because there really is a balance between keeping the fat loss momentum and enjoying yourself, right? If you enjoy yourself, it's easy to stick to it, right? If you enjoy your workouts, if you enjoy showing up, whether, it's at the home workouts or gym and all that kind of stuff, it's easy to stick to the plan. Right? Just like in business, probably the best days that you had in business are the ones where you enjoyed the most, right? Where you're having the most fun with you and your employees. Everything's kind of dialed in. The job's getting completed. The equipment isn't breaking down. Nobody's canceling on you. Not too many fires in the business. The more you enjoy yourself, the more you're going to stick with it. Simple as that. Same thing with the food that you eat. If you enjoy the food that you're eating and it gets you closer to your goals, to where you want to be, you're going to stick with it. So this is where having this kind of plan in place, your 3-step summer holiday guide, fat loss plan, is going to have that kind of balance between enjoyment and getting the results that you want. So to put yourself in the best position possible to win this summer, here are your 3 steps, right? So number 1 is, if you've been tracking your macros and calories for a while now, take a step back from that. Right? Really dial it back, especially if you are traveling, you are on vacation. I don't expect anybody to whip out a food scale and MyFitnessPal at the restaurant when you're trying to enjoy a big meal with the family. Simply not realistic. Like, I don't do the same thing myself. Because especially, tracking your calories, your macros can feel like a burden when it is outside of your routine. So, you're enjoying yourself on vacation. The last thing you want to do really is whip out the MyFitnessPal and log your meals, and ruin a perfect moment with the family, whether you're, at a restaurant, the cottage lake, and all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't mean calories don't count when you are on vacation, right? So here's what you can focus on instead. Focus on really 3 main meals, and don't try not to snack outside of those. Like, you might think that nuts and chips and cookies, all that kind of stuff adds on top of your total daily calories, right? It's not so much that eating after 6 o'clock is what's causing you to get fat. It's that total daily intake from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. right? All of that counts into your the amount of calories that you bring in for the day, right? So things like salted nuts, chips, these can really add up, especially if you are snacking on them throughout the whole day, throughout the whole week, and all that kind of stuff. Not really getting those filling meals that you need to have that energy throughout the day. So really be aware of that, because all that kind of stuff, the chips, the peanuts, the salted nuts, you can't just have one, right? A handful of nuts can really surprise you in terms of the amount of calories that you're bringing in. And I encourage you to, grab a handful of nuts. If you really want accurate precision, really put that on the food scale and run those numbers through MyFitnessPal, and you will see actually how many calories it is. You'd be surprised. It could be 200, 300, 400, depending on the size of your hand and how much you grab, and how much you have throughout the day. So before you go traveling, to add on top of this, like if you really want it to have that kind of accurate precision, run that through your food scale, run that through MyFitnessPal to get that kind of idea and awareness behind how many calories those chips and those nuts actually are. So another one here is eat plenty of protein at every meal, right? I talk about this so much with my clients, really making sure that we're getting our protein in. It's super important to preserve the muscle that you have, but also build it on top of that when you are working out, whether at home or at the gym. It is the foundation. We are made of protein. So having that as a foundation and really aiming for, say you're having 3 meals, anywhere between 40 to 50 grams of protein per meal, right? And then, so what that would look like in terms of like plate portion size, really aim for maybe even up to like 50% of your plate to be some sort of lean protein. So lean protein, this could be like your turkey breast, your chicken breast, some kind of white fish, some lean ground beef, all that kind of stuff, right? And then 25% is vegetables, and the last 25%, whatever you want, right? So having that kind of idea in terms of really taking advantage of the amount of protein, really filling that up on your plate, that will give you a good idea in terms of like 40, 50 grams of protein per meal, per serving, if you aren't tracking that through MyFitnessPal. And then on top of that, you can have, one reasonable dessert for the day, try not to go back for seconds, load up on water, 120 ounces of water when on vacation. The low-hanging fruit that often gets forgotten with all the excitement and booze around is really not drinking a lot of water. Because, if you are at the cottage, going to the beach or camping or traveling, all that kind of stuff, chances are water kind of goes out the window and alcohol enters naturally, right? We want to enjoy ourselves. So for every alcoholic you drink, aim to have like 1 glass of water to accompany it, right? So like 1 for 1, right? 1 for 1. And if you really want to stay, extra hydrated, if you will, you could do 2 for 1. So for every glass of alcohol, you can have 2 glasses of water, right? So it really is a good way to, enjoy yourself, have your alcohol, and stay hydrated, but also reduce the chance of having a hangover the next day, right? So ultimately, really be smart with the alcohol and aim to, if you really want to keep the calories down, aim to have liquor on the rocks, meat or wine, and try and stay away from sugary drinks. And if you do want to have a low-calorie beer, Michelob Ultra is a really good option for that. And then ultimately, like, enjoy your vacation and the meals you eat, right? Find enjoyment and choose meals that you enjoy already, and then cycle through that. And if you want to experiment with other foods, go for it, right? But for the most part, most people stay within their range of comfort zone, even when they are traveling, right? So number 2 here is training is excellent, but is optional if you have the time, right? So you don't need, like when you're traveling, you don't need an entirely new routine rather, like unless your gym doesn't have the standard equipment. But getting in there, lifting weights is better than being lazy. And at the very least, like body weight exercises are free, right? If your hotel doesn't have a gym, or wherever you are just doesn't have a gym for whatever reason, squats are free, push-ups are free, sit-ups, planks, lunges, all that kind of stuff, body weight. Go until you feel a nice burn, and that'll be better than doing nothing. You'll get a nice sweat on. Burpees, all that kind of stuff. Pull-ups, if you have access to like a tree, and you want to do some tree pull-ups or something like that, really find a sturdy branch and do it that way. So keeping up with a routine kind of varies person to person. So if you feel like going to the gym will keep up with your routine, and make you feel and help you feel mentally sharp when you are on vacation, then keep doing that, right? So keep doing what you enjoy doing that you know is going to help move the needle forward. And if you need a break from the gym, sometimes it's, if you've been training for, if you've had good consistency for the last 12, 16 weeks, it might be a good idea to actually take a step back, right? Recharge, right? Rest your body and enjoy yourself on vacation. And then when you get back, you go hard in the paint again. Continue right back from where you were. So outside of the gym, outside of lifting weights, outside of doing those kind of specific exercises that are really going to help you build the muscle long term, really aim to be active wherever you are, right? So go for hikes, go for walks, water activities, biking, sports, anything to get you outside and moving. Because sitting by a beach chair, by the pool with an all-inclusive alcohol and a buffet isn't much of a holiday, even though that's often what's advertised on, marketing, traveling, and all that kind of stuff. Like, might be fun for a day or two, but after a certain point, we have this itch to do something, right? To get off the resort, if that's where you are, right? And get out and explore, see what's going on, have this kind of sense of adventure, if you will. And then number 3 here is avoid the scale for a week or two when you get home. So you've had your vacation, you've enjoyed yourself, whether it's a week or 2, whatever that looks like for you. Don't go on the scale, because whatever number is going to, like, depending on how well you've taken care of yourself on vacation. Like I worked with clients where they've gone on vacation for a week or 2 and they've come back exactly the same weight that they left, maybe even a little bit lighter. So it really depends on you, how well you stay disciplined through it all, and where you're at in your journey. So the reason why you don't really want to jump on the scale after your holiday is, alcohol and extra carbs will make you feel and look more bloated with a lot more water weight, right? And naturally, that's going to ring in a higher number on the weight scale. Now, this isn't the end of the world if you're aware of it, but it really can be discouraging for some, especially if you've had some good momentum. So chances are, you might be 5 to 10 pounds heavier after your vacation. So mentally prepare for this, for when you do, if and when you do step on the scale, right? So let a week or 2 pass, let that bloating dissipate, let that water weight kind of go down, get back into your normal routine, and you will get back to where you were before. So again, jump back into normal routine, and the extra 5 to 10 pounds will be gone within 2 weeks. And at the end of the day, just enjoy yourself. It's really what you should do, right? Take time to recharge mentally, physically, spiritually, and then you will get back and double down from where you were. So just to recap here, to make sure everything is on the same page. Number 1 here is dial it back on tracking your macros and calories. If you've been diligent with that, there's no need to do it excessively during your vacation. But, if you're curious, you can whip up MyFitnessPal just for fun. Number 2 here is training is excellent and can actually help you, move the needle forward if it does help you feel good psychologically. And it's a really good option if you have the time, but it's not entirely required, right? For some, it might be a good way to step back. And then number 3 here is avoid the scale for a week or 2 when you do get home, because those extra carbs and water weight will naturally give you that higher weigh-in and those kind of fluctuations. So give it a week or 2, let the water weight dissipate, let the carbs kind of go down a little bit, and your body will go back to where you were the last couple of weeks. And if you start right back at the gym, whenever you get back, you will use all that water weight and those extra carbs to good use towards building muscle. Because protein is like the foundation for building muscle. And then the carbs and the sugars from those carbs are kind of like rocket fuel to really set it off in a good way, in a really good way. So most importantly, keep up with your workouts, and that's really going to help you dial in and stay consistent with it all when you do get back. So hope you guys found this helpful. If you have any questions, comments, drop it down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.